CoGo is a connected asset management company that is helping industrial customers to be able to maintain their equipment more efficiently, more cost effectively, and safely. CoGo really started about 8 years ago on my entrepreneurial journey when I decided that I wanted to leave being employed by industry and create solutions to help serve industry. So really, our evolution started about 8 years ago when I left a very comfortable job at a major mining company to really go out on my own and take up the challenge of building our own products that we think could really help customers. 3 years ago, CoGo started the connected asset management journey. So how do we create devices that help connect the shop floor, that connect into a maintenance management system that allow customers to more seamlessly execute on the important work they have to get done in a timely and cost-effective manner? So a couple of things happened during the last 8 years. Really, we saw the rise in standardization of cloud computing. 3 years ago, when Microsoft started to standardize Business Central, we said, hey, now we have the opportunity to create one uniform set of software and have it apply to all of these ERP customers across the world in multiple different languages. And we can do that with a very small, very agile, very customer-centric and focused team. And prior to that, with a small team, you'd have to be able to address 4 or 5 different versions of software to be able to capture or serve as broad a market. So 3 years ago, when Microsoft started standardizing and cloud really became mature in a more substantial way, we saw the opportunity to now start putting our own software products into the market to help that customer really from the shop floor all the way to the boardroom with a single set of software to really attack the asset management challenges that are so prevalent in asset-intensive industries. So that was really where we came from, was, hey, we have the opportunity to take our experience and serve customers and be of service to those customers. 2, we saw the rise of cloud computing and the standardization that allowed us to create really, really powerful software that can apply uniformly across the world. And 3, we also have the customers that were ready to consume that information and those technologies from a cloud standpoint that they really weren't ready because they didn't understand it before. So with the maturing of cloud, the maturing of organizations, we saw, hey, there's a good opportunity now to really make a go of it in the market. And 3 years ago, when we actually started putting out our products, our own products, we got a pretty validating response from our mining and oil and gas and forest products customers about how we could help them in their digital journey around asset management. CoGo started when we really identified the need for smaller industrial customers to have a tool set where they could compete on the operations and maintenance side with major players that had more well-developed technology competencies. So we saw the opportunity to be able to take some of the learnings from major companies that have a very well-developed competency and boil them down into really consumable, very understandable, and very cost-effective maintenance management solutions. We did that just because of the overarching drive for there to be more mining companies to be able to fulfill the demand for critical metals that are going to help the electrification of our planet. My specific experience is 10 years in mining and 10 years in oil and gas before I started CoGo. So I come by it honestly. I come from asset-intensive industries, actually working on the shop floor, working at remote fly-in, fly-out, or bus-in, bus-out operations, and some of the most challenging industrial settings in the world. So really, my background comes from being able to service mines at 4,300 meters above sea level or above the Arctic Circle, or somebody that's in a very, very remote situation where they have difficult challenges that they have to solve with technology. Personally, I got involved in technology at a very young age. So we always had computers in my house. I was very lucky. I was born and raised in Alaska. And we had a very, very well-developed oil and gas ecosystem that donates a lot of money to the educational system. So it's very privileged to have access to computers very early on. So my first computer is an Apple IIc computer, which people may not remember, but used to have a carrying handle on it. So I could actually take it to friend's house and hook up to play Oregon Trail on TV. So it was very, very advanced for the time. And then throughout my kind of educational career, I've always had computing available to me. I've always had computers available to me. So throughout grade school, high school, even into university, was just something I was passionate about. Then I had the luxury of being born in a state that is very resource rich. So I had the opportunity to work with pipelines and actually see how technology could affect how we operate in extractive industries. So for me, the passion was always there. And then you combine the passion with the opportunity of where I grew up and what I was exposed to in terms of big industrial challenges. That kind of led me to really understand that there was going to be a long-term and overarching need for technologists with computer skill sets to be able to help overcome these challenges. Why am I personally so passionate about CoGo and so passionate about the market and what we're doing? And it's a really easy answer for me. We spent my formative years in the 90s seeing a lot of our heavy industry manufacturing jobs move to lower cost jurisdictions. And I fundamentally believe that North America has incredible ingenuity in what they're able to create and incredible capability when it comes to manufacturing. And I see the opportunity for us to catch up in that space. I see the opportunity to be able to create jobs here that keep people in their local communities, whether that's making sure that operations can be efficient in smaller communities where there's lumber mills that have to be highly, highly functional, or whether or not it's keeping those factories open that are doing mining in small communities in remote jurisdictions. I think there's such an opportunity for us to have world-class maintenance, world-class manufacturing, and for us to layer on all the other tools that we build that other countries are much better at leveraging. How do we bring AI, remote sensing capabilities? How do we bring those advanced technological aspects to make our businesses hyper competitive in the manufacturing space? I'm very passionate about what we can do with that. So you put that together with the opportunity for us to reignite the manufacturing, the heavy industry manufacturing capability we have here. And I think that's a joyful outcome in an area that I want to participate in, because I know that we can help provide the change that's needed to make those businesses competitive and sustainable. A project that had the biggest impact on me was when we were doing an implementation for a large industrial customer that had operated largely on spreadsheets, that had done their maintenance largely through ad hoc or day-to-day work activity with virtually no planning and scheduling. And you could see that reflected in how the mill operated, the uptime in the mill, and the attitudes of the people that were actually servicing the mill. So the big impact came for me was after we had implemented the maintenance management system and actually participating in some of the meetings before and after. So we have daily workshop or tool talk meetings where everybody gets together before we actually start our day and talk about what's coming up in terms of maintenance activities. And what I was able to experience before and after in a very short amount of time had a deep impact on the people that participate in the process. So before, non-digitized process, fully paper-driven, the attitudes of people walking into the room were shrugged shoulders, heads down, at the table, just kind of listening to what's going on, but not really engaging in the process of what they had to do today. It was just give me the information and let's get out of here. We implemented an EAM system and then actually had everybody with a mobile device in their hand looking visually at the schedule of everything that was planned out. What I saw in 2 days was people walking into the meeting with their devices prepared, asking questions to their planner and scheduler, asking questions to their maintenance superintendent, asking questions about functionality, and taking ownership that I didn't see even 2 days prior. So people saying, no, I think we should do this first, or I don't have these parts to do this job, and I can see they're on a purchase order and they'll be here next week. What I saw was digital engagement that fundamentally changed the work behavior. Now we could talk about what we saw in terms of uptime statistics, what we saw in terms of safe work habits, what we saw in overall efficiency and cost reduction. But I think the biggest impact is seeing the personal impact of a digital journey. CoGo's most important values are our people. I don't say that lightly. Is that we all come from industry, so we understand the problems that our customers are trying to solve. So if we focus on our people, they focus on our customers, which helps us to solve problems more efficiently. What does customer centricity mean to CoGo? It's a good question because everybody does say that they're customer centric. And my response to that is we live on the shop floor, so we live next to our customers. We don't create features or functions that are not directly customer driven. So there's an economic value to the advancement of our software and services that is directly driven by the customer need. So it's understanding what's happening on the shop floor, what's happening in the life of a technician, what's happening in the life of a planner and scheduler, what's happening in the life of a maintenance superintendent or manager, and what's happening in the life of a general manager. So if we don't know those things, we're not living next to our customer. So it means our product gets further and further away from the problem. So for us, customer-centric is being problem-centric. And I'll even answer this another way, because one of the questions that we get asked too is, what's your moat? How big is the moat between the CoGo solutions and the competitors? And I said, our moat is built from our customers back. The moat is not built from the product to the customer. It's built from the customer to the product. So our customer and our moat is driven by the customer directly. So our economic achievement is achieved by addressing the customer issue. You cannot address the customer issue unless you're side by side on the shop floor with them on a day-to-day basis, understanding what's happening. And that's also true if you look at the CoGo organizational structure. We all work directly with our customers. There's nobody that's on our team that is strictly a general and administrative position. If you're on the CoGo team, you have the skills and the abilities to work with our customers to help them achieve their goals. We don't have non-working consultants. So we have kind of 3 performance indicators. We know we've done our job. We know we've been successful. So if we think about this from a maintenance journey standpoint, how many people are putting requests in the system? How many people are requesting service? Hey, we've got an issue that needs to be addressed. How many work orders are actually being generated? And then from work orders, how many preventative maintenance work orders are being driven? So if we look at that over a 30, 60, 90-day period, and we see an increase in the requests, we see an increase in the work orders, and we see an increase in the preventative maintenance activities that are being done, we know that we have the quantitative key performance indicators checked, right? We know we're doing the right job. Longer term, its success is really driven by when the customers start pulling from us, when they start going to the next level. Great, we can do planning, scheduling, we can do executing, but now how do we make our system more efficient? How do we actually generate work orders through counters so that the machines tell us when it's time? How do we do that through measurements? How do we automate this process? how do we group our resources and like for like skill sets and start to automate the scheduling of those resources? So from a qualitative standpoint, it's when does the maintenance manager, the general manager, the planner and scheduler, once the numbers are in line and once the quantitative measures start to show, when do they raise their hand and say, we can do better, and CoGo, how can you help us get to that next step? So that to me is the definition of success. And we do quarterly business reviews with our customers where we help to guide them on that journey. We're also very careful to meet customers where they are. So we're not trying to push as hard as we probably could to make customers get better. But when they ask, take the opportunity to actually say, here are the 3 or 4 things that we can actually do to get you even better, to actually get you further up the maturity stack than you are now. So we've got our quantitative and our qualitative measures for defining success. Oh God, what is my role and responsibility as CEO of CoGo? That's such a loaded question. At the end of the day, my biggest job is leading. My biggest job is finding a path through a very, very noisy market to connect with our customers, to connect our resources or our employees with those customers to address the challenges that they have. So first and foremost, my job is being a leader. And it's a privilege to have that. I'm a servant leader. So I'm always asking people, what can I do to help? What do I need to enable you? And I do that really full-time with my colleagues that I work with day to day. And I also do that full-time with our clients. And our team knows, even though they try to keep me out of it a lot, is that I want to be involved in customer meetings. I want to be involved in technical meetings. I want to be involved in the weeds of talking about asset criticality and how do we address the criticality of assets that are so germane to the operation of the business. Now, as we grow, I have to do less of that, but I'm also very, very vocal about I got to spend 50% or more of my time with customers, understanding problems. That makes me the best leader for our people and the best leader for our customers. And by virtue of that, it makes us the best leaders for our product and our industries that we're serving. One of the challenges that the industry is facing that CoGo can really help solve, and I think there's 3 different ways that we can help look at that. CoGo being a connected asset solution company, we want to help you as a mining company throughout your entire life cycle. So we want to be able to help you manage and monitor your assets through exploration, through your initial findings, all the way through your pre-feasibility study and early works on a sign, on a project, through feasibility study, and then into construction and commissioning and operation. And CoGo can help you with your critical assets every step of the way. And that's one big challenge in terms of operationally, how we can help you through the phase of your project evolution, but also how CoGo can help you maintain when you become operational through the social side. Making sure that we're maintaining our equipment correctly so things like spills don't happen. Making sure that critical assets like fire valves and pumps are actually monitored full time so that your people are safe. Help you really on that ESG journey as well. And a lot of people don't connect the maintenance side of it to your environmental and compliance side of it, but it is directly related. If our equipment is running really well, then we're less likely to have an environmental issue because we're less likely to have a leak. We're less likely to have an accident, a fire, if that equipment is maintained well. So CoGo can really help through the product or project evolution of mining companies, really help also through the operations of those assets, but also in closure and reclamation. So being able to monitor critical assets, being able to monitor old wells, be able to monitor sites that are in active reclamation when the mining projects are done and we're actually reverting them back to their natural state, we can help you monitor those assets as well. So I think CoGo really has the ability to help customers from the time they start a project to the time they finish and monitor the reclamation process through all of those assets. And all of those assets are critical at all steps of the mine life. So it could be something as simple as monitoring the maintenance on your drill rigs or your safety equipment during exploration, to being able to monitor your monitoring wells when you're in active reclamation. One of the opportunities that are facing the mining industry that CoGo can help with is really pace of technology. We have pretty leading edge tools when it comes to automation on the maintenance side, when it comes to actually using some AI on the maintenance side, when it comes to sensory solutions on the maintenance side. And what this does for our customers is it really does give them an operational competitive advantage. You've got high-end, top-tier tools. You've got detailed maintenance analytics and even predictive analytics from the sensors all the way through the ERP that are at a price point where even 5 to 10 years ago were so expensive for a mid-tier miner, they didn't even bother looking at them. So now today, for the cost of literally your cell phone on a monthly basis, you can have those connected assets, you can have those insights, you can start to do things like use AI to auto-schedule your maintenance job. We're actually really providing access to a very advanced tool set for a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the implementation time it would take you to do it from the ground up if you were building your own tools. The reason why I mention that is because I come from very big companies that these tools didn't exist in the wild. We had to build our own. It's even as soon as 5 or 6 years ago. So now we're able to take and actually say, look, we've got a uniform ERP, we've got a uniform set of enterprise asset management tools, we got a uniform set of sensors, we got a uniform set of analytics, all together in a sandwich where you don't have to buy the entire food truck. We can only sell you the sandwich that you need to eat. So we do it cost effectively at a really, really efficient time to value implementation timeline that really helps customers have super advanced tools that, again, even 5 years ago, you didn't have access to unless you were a major. So we think that provides a really good operational competitive advantage to our mining customers. How does future industry development connect to CoGo's vision? This is such a great question about, what does the future that's right at our doorstep look like? And I'll give you a couple real world examples. CoGo has asset sensors, asset tags. These things are also geospatial anchors. So let's say we're on the plant floor in a mine. We have the ball mill spinning. We have the sag mill going around. We've got our asset sensors everywhere. And instead of a person actually doing the rounds, you have a robot that's going from tag to tag to tag, that's doing operational rounds, that's actually using a camera to do full scans of the area, using AI to actually point out anything that's changed physically in the environment, that's actually looking at operating parameters and giving you vibratory analysis, giving you audio analysis, giving you temperature analysis. So we really see we're on the doorstep of having a really emerging, highly automated, very sophisticated mining operation of the future that really is here now. The tools are here now, and the cost of such things are becoming lower and lower all the time. And I'll give you another example. So inside plant, robots going around checking equipment, great. I think we'll still need people for a long time to actually execute complex maintenance tasks, so those jobs aren't going away. Maybe how we go about those jobs will be slightly adjusted. But even if you think outside plant, now we have drones that are doing full-time surface evaluation and mapping, doing resource evaluation, stockpile mapping, volumetrics, doing full-time security and perimeter scans, jobs that are going to be automated, that are going to have AI driven behind them. And we know that CoGo, one of our big competitive advantages, is also being on the Microsoft platform, because we don't want to win in the platform space. Microsoft has got $100 billion to win in the platform space. We just have to be able to leverage the tools that that platform gives us to actually give those advantages to our customers. So very, very quickly, the future of CoGo is going to be more AI driven, whether it's AI and automatically driven scheduling, or whether it's using our asset tags and our asset sensors as geospatial anchors to guide humans first and then maybe robots second through the factory floor to do your operator rounds, or maybe very quickly a robot that delivers your tools or your spare parts to your work location instead of a person having to go back to get an additional tool or additional parts to execute a work order. Those things will come to you. Those are here now. And those are the things that CoGo is going to continue to kind of focus on for our customers. So when they come back to us and say, hey, what could we do to be more efficient? We're already armed with a suite of advanced tools that we can offer those customers. So that's the future for CoGo, and I think that's the future for all of our customers. It's lowering cost, it's increasing efficiency, it's being more safe, it's being more compliant to whatever regulatory compliance framework you have, and we're only going to be able to do that by really leveraging the technologies and understanding those technologies on behalf of our customers, so we can service those needs as they come up. So, closing thought for our customers is that the technology that we use to be able to maintain our assets is fundamentally different than it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. The tools that we're able to use will naturally plug in to all of the advanced tools that are coming. And the reason why I bring that up is because we are Microsoft centric. We think that they have a great suite of tools. They're advancing at a pace that is incomprehensible to most people, but very exciting for us as a technology company. And I think most importantly for our customers, it will be exciting because we'll be able to distill those technologies down into something that's highly consumable for them. So I guess my final thought is about if you're not thinking about advanced operational tools with automation, AI capabilities, with IoT sensors, I don't think that you're going to have the competitive advantage that your peers that could be right next door, that if they're utilizing that, will have. So I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's just getting harder and harder to find skilled people that actually can solve these challenges through being personally driven. So we can add more people to it. We've got 7 million less qualified maintenance technicians in North America than we need to fill the trades gap that we currently have. So if we don't embrace these tools, if we don't embrace digitization, and we don't leverage it to its fullest value, you're not going to be able to solve it through throwing bodies at it, because there just aren't enough bodies there to go around. So really, it's a binary choice. You invest, you overcome, or you try to be personality driven and hope you can fill the gap. But it's quite a big gap, and it would be a pretty amazing leap to see everybody within a sector be able to make that jump at the same time, because there's just not enough people to build a bridge over that gap.